audio issues on the Dan O'Cam. So while you can hear us, we do have the Dan O'Donnell Show logo up. So if you're looking to see my beautiful face, unfortunately, you will just have to wait. We'll probably get that fixed during the first commercial break. So, no complaints. I don't want you calling up producer Dave and saying you can't see the Dan O'Donnell Show, because apparently people are still doing it. Seriously, in 2024, I get 1978. The little old ladies want to watch General Hospital, and they're calling up saying, "Where are my stories? Why is the man with the map talking about the weather? I want to watch my stories." But apparently this is a phenomenon that still goes on. I happen to catch a clip of Mark Baden, WISN 12 forecaster in Milwaukee, addressing this while doing severe weather coverage late last night.
You're like, well, I don't live in those areas. Why are you on my screen? Because these are destructive, because they can do damage to homes. Whether you live in a farmhouse, whether you live in the city, it's the same kind of thing. I'm going to be with you. If this moves into Waukesha, moves into Milwaukee, we're going to still be with you, and we're going to let you know what you need to do here.
Seriously, are these people who call up and complain that severe weather coverage is preempting their shows, are they not aware that network television sucks? More accurately put, are they not aware that you can always watch this stuff streaming? And yes, I know the reason people are watching over-the-air TV is they don't get cable. Maybe they don't subscribe to the streaming services where you can watch the same episode that just aired a couple of hours later. And what these local stations do is replay the episodes that get interrupted. I think last night was it The Voice or maybe American Idol or whatever it was. It's all the series finales. We're in season finale, series finale season on network television. I honestly, and I'm not just saying this, folks, I'm always honest with you here. I watch almost zero TV. It's not that, oh, yes, I'm reading books. I prefer to read Tolstoy while you idiots are watching reality TV. No, it's just I don't have time. I'm always doing stuff, coaching the kids or something like that, or preparing for this here radio show. So it's taking my wife and I, it has taken us, we're on like a 1-month hiatus. We were the last people in the known world to watch Ozark on Netflix. And now it's like we're so exhausted. We're in the middle of a move. I'm obviously getting up early to do a radio show. We're in the middle of a hiatus from watching the one Netflix show that we're able to watch. And it's taken us a good 2 months. We're watching with her parents, A Gentleman in Moscow on Showtime. It's based off a best-selling novel. Ewan McGregor stars as a count who, after the Bolshevik Revolution and the Soviet takeover of Russia, is sentenced to live in a luxury hotel. It's bizarre in its premise, but it's incredibly well done, and it's a damning indictment of communism and Soviet-style governance, so much so that I can't believe it was made in 2024. But seriously, people, the severe weather coverage on television is slightly more important than figuring out which person is going to win The Voice and then go on to do absolutely nothing in their singing career. I kid. And I do understand. It's just, it's a bizarre phenomenon. And yes, we get a whole ton of complaints. Look, I'll bet you we're going to get a whole ton of complaints. I haven't looked at the Dan O'Cam or our text app yet where I can see all of your texts, but I guarantee you're not seeing me, and I get it. It's routine. You're relaxing after a long day. You're one of the 12 people on planet Earth who still feels the need to catch the Jimmy Kimmel Show or the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. I get it. It's all part of the routine. It's the same reason that you hear a fill-in on your favorite talk radio show, and oftentimes people will go to a podcast or people will go to, it's routine. Look, folks, I filled in for Belling for what? How long does he take off each year? 9 months? 10 and a half? Is he actually on between exactly July and August? Belly, he's not off today. You are kidding me. I didn't. Dave is teasing me, saying Belling's off today, and I did think about it. I did think, am I going to walk out of the studio? This is why it's the old joke in radio that you get the boss pokes his head in at the end of his show, at the end of your show, and like whenever my boss Jerry Bott will do that, and it'll be like, hey, we need to talk about like some spot or something, and he'll poke his head in, and I'm like, I am trained because everybody who has ever done broadcasting knows at the end of your show, especially on a Friday, if the boss pokes his head and say, hey, could you meet in my office? I'm going to get fired. I'm the exact opposite. Boss pokes his head in my office. Okay, am I going to get another show dumped on my lap? All right, Dan, now we need you to do the Jay Weber show as well. President Biden had a banner day yesterday campaigning in, wait for it, New Hampshire. Now, when I say, as you watch the state of this race unfold, pay attention to the polls, and we do have some more polls that just came out yesterday. Morning Consult has one out today as well. But pay attention more acutely to how exactly these campaigns are responding to them. Why is President Biden in New Hampshire? Because he believes he needs to be, well, more accurately stated, his handlers believe that he needs to be in New Hampshire because they're sensing weakness in if Biden was actually in this race or if it was as close as they're pretending it is, he wouldn't need to be. New Hampshire in a year that favors Democrats will be a blue state. If it's a purple state, the Democrat is clearly in some trouble. So President Biden was in New Hampshire and dropped this rather bizarre doozy about possibly having an affair with one of his sisters-in-law.
And by the way, I say to every young man thinking of getting married, marrying a family with 5 or more daughters. I did. My wife's the oldest of 5 sisters. You know why? One of them will always love you. Not the same one. One of them will always be on your side. That's the biggest advantage of marrying into 5 daughters.
Okay, he was talking about like in an argument, the way he said, you know how he does that creepy little where he leans into the microphone. One of them will always love you, especially when you're sniffing their hair. What, Mr. President? No. So then he concluded his remarks and, well, glitched so badly his brain just sort of stopped working mid-word.
Let me close with this. After I signed the PAC Act into law.
The PAC Act? Wait, what? This guy's brain is so far gone, he's turned into Billy Joel.
Let me close with this. After I signed the PAC Act into law.
I'm telling you, he is now Billy Joel. He's in the middle of you ought to know by now. Listen to this.
Let me close with this. After I signed the PAC Act into law.
Can't get enough of that, ladies and gentlemen. So where is President Trump being forced to campaign? Not in New Hampshire, not in Wisconsin, not anywhere else, but rather in the South Bronx. And wouldn't you know it, the representative from that area has some thoughts about why. We will get to an AOC update when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns in just a second.
Dan O'Donnell.
We'll be right back.
Hi, neighbors of Racine County. This is Kelly Clark, a small business owner from the Yorkville Union Grove area. I want to talk to you about an urgent issue regarding Assembly Speaker Robin Vos. Speaker Vos is resorting to lies and scare tactics to suppress the First Amendment rights of our friends who are actively working on his recall effort. This is a clear attempt to divert attention from the real problems, one of which is his support of Communist China's purchasing of Wisconsin farmland. This not only jeopardizes our land, but also places our food supply at risk. It's concerning to know that he has even taken trips on the communist dime. The urgency of this issue recently caught the attention of Michael Flynn, the former National Security Advisor, prompting him to issue a national security alert against Speaker Vos and his Chinese Communist Party partners. It's time to sign the recall petition. Look for recall supporters throughout the community with their clipboards, and please feel free to ask questions or engage in a discussion. For more information or to schedule an appointment with a recall team member to come to you, visit racinerecall.org. Together, we have the power to save Wisconsin and protect our precious farmland from Communist China's influence.
Paid for by Racine Recall Committee. Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Hey, if you want a firearm that is easy to transport, you got to check out the U.S. Survival Rifle from our friends at Henry Repeating Arms. Now, it is a portable rifle that you can put together, take apart in just minutes. And then when you're not using it, you can store the parts in the little case that it comes in. It's so small you can store it pretty much anywhere, and it's light enough to carry everywhere. Now, it comes in black and 2 different camo patterns, and you can pick one up for $300 to $400 depending on the finish. Check out their videos. Go to their website. It's one word, henryusa.com/survival. And while you're there, make sure you order their free catalog. Now, Henry makes more than 200 rifles and shotguns and revolvers, all made in America, all backed by a lifetime satisfaction guarantee and the best customer service in the business. Go to their website, henryusa.com. Get their free catalog. They'll send you free decals and a list of dealers where you are. That's henryusa.com. Free catalog decals for the Henry U.S. Survival Rifle.
Let me close with this. After I signed into law,
Just never going to get old here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Biden's brain glitching so hard he transformed before our very eyes into Billy Joel. Yeah, this was the unedited original.
let me close with this. After I signed the PAC Act into law,
Cadillac into law. And then, who is it that did Pink Cadillac? Who was transformed into him as well? So on the opposite end of the spectrum of people complaining that there was severe weather coverage instead of their stories late at night, and I'm seeing your texts, folks. I know some of you guys and gals are upset with them. I guess I can't really speak to this since I haven't watched, honest to goodness, outside of NFL football or some other sporting event, I don't think I have watched live television in quite some time. When did Lost go off the air? That was probably the last time I was watching a network show live. Honest to goodness. And this is just, that's just me. On the opposite end of the spectrum, though, the Heartland Lakeside School District canceled a band concert that was scheduled for 6:30 p.m. indoors last night. Now, I would get, and there was a lot of, my son had a soccer game that was canceled last night. I get it, because you don't know exactly when the storm is. But an indoor event in the auditorium, Heartland Lakeside, I get we're going to be cautious. The storm was not forecast to hit until 8 p.m. at the earliest, and we actually had a baseball game last night. I was coaching a baseball game, and you could feel the wind blowing in. You could see those storm clouds coming, and it's about 8:15, and I was coaching first base, and I'm joking with the umpire. I'm like, who do you think can sprint first to the car if all of a sudden the sky opens up? He's a 20-year-old kid, so I'm going to wager that it was him. All right. President Biden was in New Hampshire. President Trump forced to rally in the Bronx for the reason why And for saying the quiet part out loud, we turn to someone we haven't heard from in a while here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, and that brings me sadness. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for an AOC update.
I think what I meant is, like, the world is going to end in 12 years.
Gardening, food, that comes out of dirt. Like, it's magic.
No, for years now, the only real magic has been the love that I feel for just how stupid AOC is. Her every utterance makes the case for conservatism and against Democrat neo-socialism far better than I or any conservative ever could. It is a magical thing, everything she said. And yesterday, she was big mad about President Trump coming into her district and campaigning. But she said something very revealing while trying to be, Allie from the block and say, oh, yeah, why is he here? Because he can't leave. She revealed Democrats' entire strategy for the lawfare against the former president.
By the way, he's doing it in the South Bronx not to make a point, but because he's got court. And the man practically has the legal version of an ankle bracelet around him, and he can't leave the 5 boroughs because he always has to be in court. And so it is truly an embarrassment to him.
Oh, you're saying that this is meant to embarrass Trump and to keep him on the legal version of an ankle bracelet. I think the legal version of an ankle bracelet, Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, is actually an ankle bracelet. I'm saying when the law wants you on an ankle bracelet, they give you an ankle bracelet. But okay, so it's embarrassing for Trump. It's designed to keep him in New York. If only someone else was saying this. The guy who comes out and speaks every single day before court and complains about this exact thing. Now, while AOC was saying the quiet part out loud about Democrats' political strategy, Bill Maher has been saying the quiet part really loud for almost a year now, that Democrats are petrified that Joe Biden simply can't win, that the die is already cast. And the primary reason for this is not just his manifest failure in his 3+ years as president, but also the fact that he is so obviously mentally gone. Exhibit A.
Let me close with this. After I signed the into law,
Maher was on The View yesterday, and he tried to sugarcoat it as much as he could, understanding. By the way, Bill Maher has the absolute best booking agents I think I've ever seen. He's apparently got a new book out, and he has been on. I am getting bombarded with clips of Bill Maher. He was on the Megyn Kelly show and hilariously said, well, Hillary Clinton never said that Trump was an illegitimate president. Megyn Kelly plays the clip of Hillary Clinton saying Trump is an illegitimate president. And Maher, sort of defeated, says, well, at least she didn't deny the election results. Megyn Kelly goes, were you like in a coma for the entire Russia investigation? What do you call that, Mr. Maher? So Maher is on The View. He understands where his audience is at. He understands how he has to sort of sugarcoat this. And he says, well, it's not fair that Biden is seen as old and cadaver-like, but he is.
Biden just presents as old. It's not really fair.
No.
Because he's almost the same age. Trump is almost the same age as him.
I know.
But Trump doesn't present that way. You look at somebody right away, you can kind of just sum them up. I mean, we are not young, but we don't present as old.
Yeah.
Biden does. I saw him yesterday making that speech.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. He's cadaver-like.
But his brain is good. He's still great.
Joy Behar. Wait. He's cadaver-like, but the brain is good. Come on, man. This guy he's shuffling around like he's auditioning for an extra in The Walking Dead. He's looking like he's attacking Sheriff Grimes, okay? This guy, but his brain is good. Oh, yeah. Wait, Miss Behar, come on. Here's Biden
let me close
again.
with this. After I signed the into law.
All right, she continues.
Here's what I said. Like, when I came back after the strike in September, I said he should get out because he's just lost the faith of people. It's not fair. He's actually done a pretty good job. Yeah. But I said he's going to be Ruth Bader Biden. That's the term I use. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She stayed too long at the fair. Yeah. I remember Obama had her over to the White House, like in 2013, to hint, hey, spend more time with the grandkids. That would not be a good idea, Ruth. And she didn't take the hint, and she was not in good health, and she stayed too long, and she ruined her legacy and got the Supreme Court now to be a pretty right-wing organization.
You talk about saying the quiet part out loud. If you think, folks, Democrats both in the media and behind the scenes in political circles are not saying and have not been saying the exact same thing, you're nuts. I'm starting to think that Ron Johnson, and frankly, this is widespread thought across both sides of the aisle, that the reason that Biden proposed a debate on June 27th, well, rather, the powers behind the throne of Joe Biden proposed the first debate on June 27th. Honestly, producer Dave, I keep forgetting to tell you to do this. Can we find before June 27th the earliest general election debate in modern presidential history? I'll go all the way back to Nixon-Kennedy in 1960, because those were the first televised debates, the first that were broadcast really to a nationwide audience. And yes, I know, I believe there were a few that were on radio. Yes, I know, the earliest in the year. I mean, September 26 was the earliest, 1960. That was the earliest ever. They had always been done in debate. They had always been done in October, rather. Okay, so producer Dave, citing Google, we have a crack research team here at the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's one dude Googling as frantically as possible. And I'm telling you, Dave, this is what I have thought. I'm like, this is earlier than the earliest general election debate by at least 2 months. There's no other reason for this, and Ron Johnson suggested this when we had him on the show last week, that the only possible reason for this is to see, this is Biden's test. All right, if you can make it through without drooling or without sniffing Dana Bash's hair in the middle of the thing, or shuffling into the curtain and then falling down on national television, you can be the nominee. But if all of a sudden, and anytime somebody demands, let's debate right now, I want to debate right now, it's because they know they're losing. I have never seen a winning candidate say, okay, we're going to debate. Now, you would say, okay, well, Dan, Trump has been saying, let's debate, because he obviously knows Biden can't get. Biden could barely get through the debate. And you could see in 2020, the first one, Trump really, I think, made a critical error by constantly talking over Biden and interrupting him, because just let the man fall apart towards the end of the debate. This was 4 years ago, folks. Biden was, in fact, falling apart. So Trump also just kind of wants to be out. But in the primary, did Trump want to debate at all? No, because he knew the only thing that could happen would be that he loses support. So a losing candidate, a candidate that feels desperate enough to want to debate, is going to do so. What was John Fetterman's big advantage in the Senate race in Pennsylvania 2 years ago? The debate where it was obvious he was still suffering the effects of a severe stroke right before the primary. That debate took place, and the entire world watched. We spent pretty much an entire show on this because I was flabbergasted that this man was being allowed to run for Senate. This is not someone who is in a place physically or mentally to be able to represent a state in the United States Senate. It took place after about 50% of the votes in Pennsylvania were already cast. Why is Biden, who would have a massive advantage, obviously, in the amount of votes that would come in as soon as early voting starts, which is Democrats had their druthers, would be sometime 8 months before Election Day. Why is he proposing this now? Because, again, he's desperate. And again, I think Democrats understand that they have a very real problem, that Biden is failing the most basic and fundamental of tests for electability, and that's if you're physically and mentally able to do the job. We will have much more on this, including some more polls that back it up. Of course, we always provide the receipts here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell for the Lynch family of dealerships. Let freedom ring during Lynch's month-long Memorial Day sales event going on right now. Receive $2,250 trade assistance on top of Kelley Blue Book's fair trade value on any in-stock vehicle. Looking for a new Chevy, GMC, Ford, or Ram pickup? Start your summer road trip with a bang in your new pickup. Receive a $1,000 gift card on any in-stock brand new truck purchased from the Lynch family of dealerships. That's right, $2,250 in trade assistance on your old car and an additional $1,000 gift card when you buy a new pickup truck, only at Lynch this month. Receive these great deals and buy from a dealership that truly takes care of you after the sale with Lynch Protected, covering your windshield, tires, and paint. That also includes a 3-month, 3,000-mile certified warranty. See dealer for details. Start your summer road trip now at shoplynch.com.
Sleep apnea is a serious condition. And the worst part about it is, because it affects you while you're sleeping, you don't know what this condition is doing to you.
And it was scary because I found out that I was waking up 145 times an hour. 145 times. I was scared. I wasn't getting the sleep I needed.
And that's the thing. Someone like John wakes up after thinking he's slept all night, and he's been feeling run down for years, and finally finds out something really is wrong. This is why, for us, solving sleep apnea problems is so gratifying, because we really are changing lives.
I've had more energy. I'm getting better sleep. I've been told from my wife I don't snore, but honestly, it changed my life.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. Solving your breathing triangle problems means a better quality of life, and you deserve that.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Robin Voss is a liability to secure elections in Wisconsin. He is protecting Megan Wolf, the administrator of the Wisconsin Elections Commission, who implemented illegal drop boxes, allowed outside money influence in ballot harvesting in the 2020 elections. Regular Joe here, when President Trump was recently on my show, even he was confused why Voss is protecting Wolf.
I've heard so much about Megan Wolf, and it's like unanimous. She shouldn't be there. And Robin Voss is allowing her to be there. I don't understand it. No, she should be gone.
But Voss doesn't care what President Trump thinks. Listen to how he responded when asked about a Trump 2024 ticket.
Will you work to elect Trump in 2024 if he's the Republican nominee?
Well, I'm going to start by doing everything in my power to make sure he's not.
Voss is bad for elections, bad for Wisconsin, and bad for America. If you live in his district in Racine County, sign the new recall petition. The recall will help remove Voss before any more damage can be done to the 2024 election. Visit RacineRecall.org. That's RacineRecall.org.
Paid for by Racine Recall Committee.
Dan O'Donnell here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. I'm joined by Dave Spano, the president and CEO of Annex. And this week, Dave, we're talking about policy differences and the things that drive markets and thus impact your bottom line.
Yeah, and you really have to think about what is going on economically. And, we talked higher for longer of interest rates because inflation was going to be sticky. You and I talked about that nearly a year ago. And now over the past week, we hear both sides talking about tariffs. Well, tariffs can be viewed as a tax. And think about it for a second. If you brought a product over and there's tariffs on it, are the companies going to pass along higher prices to the consumer? Higher prices being inflationary environment. So both sides now talking about tariffs. What will that do to the inflation argument? And the Fed is really in a predicament because they have all of this pressure that they're seeing on the fiscal side and the policy side while they're trying to lower and slow down inflation. How are they going to do that is really an important point. And that's just one of the things that's going on. We talk about, for example, immigration. What is that going to look like in a year from now? All along the meantime, Dan, you've got higher prices for longer, higher interest rates for longer, and that really is wearing on the consumer right now.
Yeah, and this is the sort of thing that obviously we have been talking about for a long time. How exactly does the consumer exist now, keeping up with the same lifestyle that they had before the past 3 years of inflation, when prices for everything, the latest number I saw was $12,400 or something like that for the average family of four in America to pay for the exact same goods and services that they did in 2020. That's a big deal. And that's also why you need to know what you own and why it is you own them. You need to get a free wealth metric at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, President and CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
The headlines remind us daily the world is a dangerous place. The elites in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing. But you know better. And your gut knows that time is short to prepare for a world that is 4 missed meals away from chaos. My Patriot Supply has helped over 3 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contain delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Secure at least 1 food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200, plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour Foods. My Patriot Supply also has solar-powered generators, water filtration units, biomass stoves, heirloom seeds, and critical survival gear. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
What do you think the Real Clear polling average of polls for national polls showed on this date 4 years ago? Just Trump up 2, Biden up 3. This is nationally. Biden up 7, very close, producer Dave. On May 23rd, 2020, 4 years ago today, the Real Clear polling, formerly Real Clear Politics, still owned by Real Clear Politics, but they changed the name. Real Clear polling average of polls showed Biden up 5.5%. 5.5. And that was actually remarkably close. Believe it or not, the national popular vote in 2020 was a bit wider than people thought. So Biden actually did win by a decent amount. In the battlegrounds, however, he won by, you ready for this? In the top battleground states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida, and Arizona, Biden won by 0.03%. And that was with massive margins in both Pennsylvania and Michigan. But he barely won Wisconsin, he barely won Arizona, and he barely won Georgia. So 4 years ago, nationally, Biden was leading 5.5%. Trump is currently leading by 1.1% nationally. Now, if you look at Polymarket, which is a political betting site, you can actually put down, you can't bet, massive amounts of money, but you can put down shares. You can buy shares in who you think is going to win, proving that Americans will bet on anything. Do you think there are bets taken on the Westminster Dog Show? Let's get a Vegas line on that. Get that Potawatomi Sportsbook open to bet on the dog show. Yeah, I'll take the Yorkie at minus 110. Polymarket shows President Trump with a 55 to 40% chance. Now, this is not directly correlated to percentage. It's actually 55 cents. So a share of Trump to win, obviously, the lower the share, the less likely, or rather, the more likely that he's going to be. So they're saying, okay, Trump, 55% chance to win the presidency right now. Trump, as I keep saying, it's a weird phenomenon, but Trump can actually lose the popular vote by about 4 or 5% and still win the presidency. This is why Democrats who are being honest with themselves and really do want to eliminate democracy as we know it want to take away the Electoral College. This is why there is this push, the National Vote Compact, with all of these far left states under Democrat control are saying, well, okay, we're going to disenfranchise our own voters by, instead of awarding our electoral votes to the candidate in our state that gets the most votes, which is what the Constitution and the laws of the United States kind of say, we're just going to award our state's electoral votes to whoever wins the national popular vote. This, of course, would destroy the Electoral College. It's also totally unconstitutional. This, of course, is also following efforts, or it actually preceded efforts in Colorado, in Maine most notably, but there was also a move in Illinois before the U.S. Supreme Court in a unanimous decision, I might add. You know how bad something has to be if even the court's 3 liberals are saying, yeah, that's bad. They struck down an effort to just sort of throw Trump off the ballot, even though he had never been convicted or even charged at any level with, according to President Biden, inciting an insurrection. Insurrection or rebellion is an actual charge under federal law. President Trump never even charged with it, but the state of Colorado says, yeah, well, we think he incited an insurrection, and we're going to, we've got a, shall we say, we are very firm in our commitment to keeping him off the ballot. They're very hard-nosed in keeping Trump off the ballot here. Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. All of this reveals a deep sense of panic, I think. And it is my very strong contention that Democrats initially wanted to face Trump in a rematch. I think that's undeniable. Just as in 2016, they assumed Trump was a buffoon, that nobody in 2015, they were actively promoting Trump because of the candidate that they actually feared the most, not Jeb, not Ted Cruz, but it was Marco Rubio. This was revealed by a memo in December of 2015 by Hillary Clinton's own camp. Like, Marco Rubio is the strongest candidate. We need to promote Trump. We need to promote Ben Carson. We want to get, so Hillary Clinton was actually doing this in 2020 and 2021 after Trump had lost the presidential race. It was just assumed he was going to run again. In 2022, when Trump backed candidates, and Democrats did this again, folks, people forget about this. They were actually funding candidates who they thought would be the easiest to beat. They were funding the Trump-backed candidates who dramatically underperformed. Don Bolduc was the most notable example in New Hampshire. Republicans thought there was going to be a red wave, but candidate quality matters. Herschel Walker, too, in Georgia. They wanted to face Walker. They wanted to face Bolduc in New Hampshire. They wanted to face Blake Masters in Arizona. What do you know? All of those candidates lost. It was perceived that Trump was politically weak. However, the wheels were already in motion because I believe that there was just this assumption that Ron DeSantis, and it turned out to be the correct assumption, was sort of a passing fancy, and he was sort of what a lot of the anti-Trump votes and forces in the Republican Party were rallying behind until Nikki Haley sort of surpassed him and appealed to all the traditional neoconservatives by saying, yes, let's get involved in every single foreign war we can possibly get. Yes, blank checks for Ukraine. It's sort of like Nikki Haley was the Oprah Winfrey of Republican politics. You get a blank check, and you get a blank check, and you get a missile defense system, and you get some new Sherman tanks. Like, the party wasn't with her. Democrats then realized, and I think they have long realized, that Biden, who, remember, campaigned on the idea in 2020 that he was a transitional president, that he was going to be the guy who was going to transition into, not a woman, we are talking about Democrats in transitioning. This is the one time we're not talking about changing sexes, that he was going to move the party into this new generation. But then he backed himself into a corner and said, well, I'm going to pick a black woman. Well, the only black woman with national prominence or appeal was Kamala Harris. Harris proved to be an absolute incompetent buffoon and even more disliked than Biden, with her cackling, with her bizarre obsession with school buses, Venn diagrams, and saying the exact same canned line, we see the future, or we see what can be unburdened by what has been. The fact that I can remember her key line should tell you something about how often she uses it as a crutch in pretty much every single speech she does. So the plan, I believe, was always to be Biden was going to be a one-term president, and he was going to say, okay, I'm not going to do this. At this point, Kamala Harris, who, remember, early in the Biden administration was given a very, very important role of being the border czar, which she fumbled. She never actually went to the border, and things got progressively worse. And the Biden administration then said, okay, well, we can use Kamala as a scapegoat. Here, the plan sort of fell apart because they realized almost instantly just what a disaster Kamala was. Now they're sort of stuck with the old man. They realized, however, he is so weak that I think any Republican, just a generic Republican, would beat him rather easily. Trump, who already has broad-based national support, especially amongst the rural and exurban voters who are less likely to vote if the candidate isn't Trump, they needed to do something. And this is where I believe this lawfare strategy was crafted. It's crafted, and it always was, out of desperation. This was always their Hail Mary. They knew they couldn't beat Trump on a level playing field. And this is revealed in the abject panic that they all felt when the Supreme Court intervened in one of the federal cases. Well, this might not go off before the presidential election. We need this to go off before the presidential election. Why? Because the design and the plan always was for Trump to be on trial, for Trump to be the criminal defendant, regardless of what the evidence says. And this is why you've even got pollsters saying, okay, well, if Trump is convicted on this, it's looking almost impossible for either of these federal cases to actually start. There will not be a federal trial, my very strong suspicion, before the election. So they're pinning all of their hopes on New York. And the fact that this is even a close case, we had a Trump attorney on yesterday. It was absolutely fantastic. I said the fact that this is even a close case speaks volumes about just how weak it is. But why was it brought? Why was someone from Biden's own Justice Department, the number 3 official, why was he literally brought in specifically to try this case in New York? Because they know they need it. If they don't get a conviction, I am convinced, and this is why you've got this debate June 27th, right? Let's say Trump gets acquitted, or there's a hung jury and they aren't going to be able to retry the case before the election. I think they know Biden is cooked. I think they also know Trump would wipe the floor with Kamala Harris. And this is why it's always been my thought, if they're going to replace Biden with anyone, it's likely to be Gavin Newsom. We will name the unhinged liberal of the day coming up next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Stay tuned for more conservative thought, not just talk.
Talk radio redefined. Dan O'Donnell will be right back.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my great friends at Mander Collision and Glass. Now, with 6 locations to serve you, you hear me talk about how great Mander is, their work ethic, their customer service. Here's customer Hank. Took my Corvette in for a new windshield with camera in the glass. Their tech knew everything and did a great job. Everyone there was friendly and helpful. I loved the modern and very neat waiting area. Thank you, guys. Finally, even the bathroom was very clean. This is a very professional family-run business. When I need any more work done, I'm coming here. Peter, you're the best. He even brought this old man an armchair so I could sit and work on my laptop. The receptionist was very quick to say hello and knew everything about my job. Thank you. No, thank you, Hank, for reminding me and everyone about the Mander difference. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com. That's mandercollision.com.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are
are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps plants strong and vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
Is it true that Hasselus mattress showrooms don't have any employees?
That's right. Try and buy with no pushy sales guy.
Okay.
Once you find the perfect beauty rest, Sealy Posturepedic, or Serta Perfect Sleeper, you can order by phone, online, or at our handy in-store kiosk.
Well, that's great, but
since we don't have to pay employee commissions, you will pay way less. Our 43 beds from the top 5 brands start at $393.
Okay, but
through Monday, buy your new Serta Perfect Sleeper, Beauty Rest, or Sealy Posturepedic mattress, and we'll give you a free box spring or an equal amount off an adjustable base. Free next day delivery, too. Does that answer your questions?
yes, except for one.
Shoot.
If Hasselus mattress has no employees,
Yeah?
then who are you?
I'm just the ruggedly handsome spokesperson.
But this is radio.
Exactly. I'm told I have a face for it.
Right.
Find a self-service showroom near you or shop online at Hasselus.com.
Hi, neighbors of Racine County. This is Kelly Clark, a small business owner from the Yorkville Union Grove area. I want to talk to you about an urgent issue regarding Assembly Speaker Robin Voss. Speaker Voss is resorting to lies and scare tactics to suppress the First Amendment rights of our friends who are actively working on his recall effort. This is a clear attempt to divert attention from the real problems, one of which is his support of Communist China's purchasing of Wisconsin farmland. This not only jeopardizes our land, but also places our food supply at risk. It's concerning to know that he has even taken trips on the communist dime. The urgency of this issue recently caught the attention of Michael Flynn, the former National Security Advisor, prompting him to issue a national security alert against Speaker Voss and his Chinese Communist Party partners. It's time to sign the recall petition. Look for recall supporters throughout the community with their clipboards, and please feel free to ask questions or engage in a discussion. For more information or to schedule an appointment with a recall team member to come to you, visit racinerecall.org. Together, we have the power to save Wisconsin and protect our precious farmland from Communist China's influence.
Paid for by Racine Recall Committee.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Hi, this is Karen from D&M. Our state rebates of $1,000 on a new heat pump will be drastically cut as of June 1st, and everybody likes money back, right? And once it's gone, it's gone. We can help you take advantage of this rebate, plus many more. Here are your cool cash and tax credits. Don't wait any longer. The time is now. Go online and request a quote for the best we can offer in heating and cooling. Turn to the experts, Carrier and D&M.
D&M at your service.
Visit us at dmheating.com.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome back to it. It is time now to name today's unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
Possibly.
America is in
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is Missouri Representative and squad member Cori Bush, who put out a video this week marking the birthday of Michael Brown, who was shot and killed by a police officer while reaching for that officer's gun and attempting to beat him after he had just beaten up a store owner and robbed it in Ferguson, Missouri back in, was it 2014, 2015? It was. Yeah, we just marked the 10-year anniversary. No, we didn't. Was it August? I feel like it was August of 2014. This year is the 10-year anniversary, and it's weird how every time it only seems like we have these big race riots across the country in even-numbered years, usually in the third or fourth quarter of said year, to coincide with the time when you need to be registering to vote. It is so weird how that always seems to happen. So Cori Bush puts out this video to mark Michael Brown's birthday and also the 10th anniversary of his death, and said that shootings like Brown's cost 11 gajillion mental health days a year.
Police killings of unarmed black people are responsible for more than 50 million additional days of poor mental health days per year.
50 million days of poor mental health days, just so you've got that. Just so we're clear, there are 8,760 hours in a day. And as the musical Rent taught us, there aren't even 50 million minutes in a day. There's 521,600 minutes. But let's just say Cori Bush is not measuring in minutes or sunsets or cups of coffee. She's measuring in the mental health days that police shootings are costing black Americans. Still not sure where she gets that number, but it makes about as much sense as 11 gajillion. Cori Bush is your unhinged liberal of the day. How badly are Americans suffering with Bidenflation? Look no further than your fast food menu. I consider myself, with 3 kids, you almost have to be a fast food aficionado. And we will get to some of the numbers. These are truly eye-opening. You won't want to miss this. Coming up next here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. Severe storms with strong winds and heavy rain ripped through southern Wisconsin last night. The storm activity brought down trees and power lines across the lower part of the state. We Energies reports that tens of thousands of people have gone without power, with the biggest numbers without electricity being in Waukesha County. Though there are no reports of any tornado touchdowns in southeast Wisconsin, the National Weather Service is expected to send teams out later on today to survey the damage from straight-line winds. A devastating tornado led to death and destruction in central Iowa yesterday. Iowa State Police confirmed several people died in the town of Greenfield, just southwest of Des Moines. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds declared a disaster in 15 Iowa counties and was scheduled to visit the hard-hit area today. A heavy law enforcement presence after a vehicle chase in downtown Milwaukee yesterday afternoon. FBI agents, U.S. Marshals, and Milwaukee police all gathered at a public parking garage where the pursuit ended. Tommy Pappas witnessed the situation while at a downtown cafe across the street. He told Fox 6 News about what he saw.
After the suspects were put in the squad cars, they brought the dogs out and they actually searched the garage, not only this one right here across the street, but the one to the left of it as well.
A white Jeep was towed from the scene after the arrests were made. Milwaukee police say they'll have more information about the case connected to the chase and arrests later on. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard, the Brewers wrap up a series with the Miami Marlins this evening in Florida. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Dan O'Donnell here for my amazing friends at Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattresses, where the Memorial Day sale is on now. Shop where the O'Donnell family shops now more than ever. It is the time to support Built Right, a locally and family-owned business for 4 generations and 96 years strong. Built Right has the best team and selection of affordable, better quality furniture and mattresses in Wisconsin. Their 45,000 square foot showroom has thousands of items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. Special and custom orders are faster in 2024. You'll get the lowest prices on popular brands like Smith Brothers, Elran, Temple, Heirloom, Restonic, and Therapeutic. Built Right always saves you money. Voted best place to shop and winner of the Home Furnishings Association Retailer of the Year. This week, shop Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday, 10 to 6, Sunday they're closed to be with family, and open Memorial Day, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Partly cloudy skies, clearing to mostly sunny skies today. Temperatures will be in the low 70s, but very breezy, with winds gusting in the 30-mile-per-hour range out of the west. We will be talking full sunshine, though, heading into Thursday before more storms enter by Friday. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Our American Stories.
This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. On our next episode, the late great culture writer Terry Teachout tells the story of one of the most important musicians of the 20th century, Duke Ellington. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
They used water to restore your wood? No wonder you need us. Well, don't worry. This time we'll do it right. You see, water raises the grain of wood, warps it, and opens splits and glue joints. It's the enemy of finished furniture. And that's why we only remove your finish chemically. It's not the cheap way, but it is the best way. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you have a great piece and want to see if it's worth restoring, of course we can send someone out there. And no, we won't charge for the visit. We've been doing that for almost 50 years, along with pickups and deliveries, to get the beautiful piece that we restore back in your home safe and sound. And we'll guarantee your satisfaction to boot. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Have you heard that real estate commissions are coming down? Ask your 6% broker if they're still charging 6%. Spoiler alert, they are. Before you overpay to sell your home, Google Redefined Realty. We have 15 to 20 agents, 3 local offices, West Bend, Waukesha, and Pewaukee, and over 500 5-star Google reviews. At just 3.99%, you can sell your home for a fair price and get the professional full-service MLS representation that you deserve. Don't pay 6% in such a hot housing market. It's just 3.99% at Redefined Realty for the same thing.
Be
sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, news, talk, and sports radio. Podcasts, too. Download the app. Free never sounded so good.
Possibly the most shocking thing I've seen all week. And I've seen a lot of shocking things when it comes to just how high prices have risen. Has got to be the fast food menus. Gotta be it. Would you believe across 5 items on the McDonald's menu, the prices have gone up just in the last 4 years, 141%. This comes as President Biden is, for the second time in his presidency, both not coincidentally in the summer before an election, raiding the Strategic Petroleum Reserve for political and not geopolitical or national security strategic interests. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. That coming up. Plus, not how bizarre, that's coming up on Friday. Dan, you're getting ahead of yourself. Not that I'm already mentally at the lake for Memorial Day weekend. America's favorite game show, Guess What's Racist, is coming up later on this hour. Plus, liberals just can't stop. You know, I feel for you, liberals. You lost a very important friend, someone who is like-minded with you on a whole lot of issues, especially your thoughts on the Zionists. Ibrahim Raisi, the butcher of Tehran. We mourn him. We celebrate his life. He was, the Washington Post said, an austere religious scholar who also executed thousands of his own people. But, you know, it was mostly the scholar thing. We also have the UWM chancellor apologizing to the Jewish community after one of the absolute worst statements I think I've ever seen come out of a university in Wisconsin. We'll get to that. Plus, as if we didn't have enough, can you believe a 13-year-old boy is the suspect in a double homicide, and that's not even the lead story in Milwaukee? 13-year-old boy. 13. I have a 13-year-old boy. He's more interested in Clash of Clans. 13 killed 2 teenagers over the weekend. So all that coming up, but first, the Spring Green Cash Contest. Word this hour, grand, G-R-A-N-D, grand. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and enter the keyword grand. If your entry is picked at random, you win a grand, which just might buy you a Big Mac in Biden's economy. What is it that Biden's economic advisors are most concerned about? Well, according to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, it's climate change, of course.
We should also continue collaboration to further decarbonization globally through green investments from our development finance agencies and international initiatives to share policies and harmonize climate disclosure. Like security, driving sustainable growth matters for Americans and Europeans, making us more resilient and more prosperous. And it will save us from a dire fate. As climate-related events continue to increase in severity and frequency, threatening our lives and livelihoods and our children's futures, we have no choice but to jointly lead.
Now this This exact sort of mentality is what led the Biden administration to immediately declare a war. And I mean, when I say immediately, I mean midnight on January 20th, 2021, issuing executive orders to halt the construction of the Keystone XL pipeline to make domestic production of oil far more difficult. This, along with the $1 trillion stimulus package, was a major reason that we had hyperinflation almost immediately in President Biden's economy. When Biden took office, the average price of gas was $2.39 a gallon. I know I sound like a broken record. Regular listeners to the Dan O'Donnell Show probably have heard me say $2.39 a gallon more than I say conservative thought, not just talk, right? And that's saying something because I say that other thing quite a bit. But I want you to remember the average price of gas when Biden took office was $2.39. We had a massive price spike ahead of the Memorial Day weekend when more people than in years are expected to hit the road. They're expected to go on vacation for this long weekend. This has led to a massive spike in gas. So what did President Biden do? He again raided the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which is now down to a 40-year low. I don't think I need to tell you that the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is there just in case there is a true emergency. Let's say there's some sort of war that breaks out in the Middle East and OPEC nations can no longer export. Let's say there's a massive disaster and we need to go in and use some of our Strategic Petroleum Reserve. We use something like, 22 billion gallons of oil or 22 billion barrels of oil per day or something. It's either 22 million or 22 billion. You'll have to forgive me. It's a massive number. We are now down to a 40-year low, and the two big raids on that Strategic Petroleum Reserve, not coincidentally, came when Biden thought he was going to absolutely be slaughtered in the midterms because gas prices, for the first time in American history, got above $5 a gallon for a national average. In fact, the price of an average gallon of regular unleaded was $5 a gallon in all 50 United States. This was in the summer of 2022. Now Biden can read the tea leaves again. The average price of a gallon right now is $3.61. So he's raiding the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. All the while, he's still enacting and supporting policies that make gas far less affordable. Remember, this was the same administration which put such onerous mandates on gas-powered automobiles that the auto industry said, hey, wait a second, this is too aggressive. The electric cars just aren't selling. We don't have the infrastructure. We need to hold off on this. But if you want to see how much inflation is truly costing the American family, folks, you need look no further than fast food menus. Just this morning, my daughter's birthday is coming up very, very shortly. We are very happy. It's going to be fun. She's getting a year older. It's a significant birthday for her. And she is, celebrating her birthday 2 days before we leave for Europe. And just a programming note, I'm going to be gone. It's the annual Dan O'Donnell Show trip in early June. And we said, okay, you're going to have your big birthday party with your friends once we get back. We're also in the middle of a move, so, everything's sort of in flux. But my wife asks her, literally this morning, as I'm sipping coffee and she's getting ready for, where do you want to go for your big birthday dinner with the family? Grammy and Grampy and aunts and uncles, and we all get together. Where do you want to go? Older boys will be like, oh, I want to go to this great steakhouse. You know what she says? Chick-fil-A. And I hear this in the other room and just start cracking up because whenever you ask this girl where she wants to go for dinner or lunch or breakfast, she will say Chick-fil-A. She is in love with Chick-fil-A. What she usually gets is the 8-piece Chick-fil-A nuggets. At the end of 2019, the price for that was $3.05 for an 8-piece nuggets. Today, $5.99, an increase of 96.4%. Now, my middle son and I are gluten-free, so we can't have the breading on top of the chicken, but we love the waffle fries. Everybody loves the waffle fries at Chick-fil-A are spectacular. You get those with some Polynesian sauce or the Chick-fil-A sauce, which we're hoping and praying doesn't have gluten in it. We've never really looked, but it's sort of, ignorance is bliss. Medium waffle fries. $1.65 at the end of 2019. Today, $2.99. An increase of 81.2%. Now, is this Chick-fil-A being greedy? Is this Big Chicken with its cartel-like dominance over the chicken fast food industry, setting prices and gouging its customers? Do you think Chick-fil-A wants to charge $3 for fries? Fast food is about price, right? It's about price and convenience. Why do people go to fast food? Because A, it's delicious, even though we know how bad it is for us. Come on. Like, after a night at the bar, you aren't craving some Taco Bell. You're lying to me and yourself if you're not. The only reason I'm not doing that now is the gluten-free thing. I used to be obsessed with the Little Caesars hot and ready pepperoni. You get the cheesy sauce or whatever. Oh, that was my guilty pleasure. Some men's vices is the drink. Some men's is gambling. Mine was the $5 hot and ready pepperoni at Little Caesars. So I get it, right? And families who are on the go oftentimes will go to fast food because, you're on your way to a baseball tournament. You just don't have time. We're busy people, right? It's fast, it's easy, it's convenient. This was what years ago led to the rise of fast casual, the Chipotles, noodles, that were sort of a step up from the McDonald's and Burger King. Chick-fil-A is sort of in that middle ground between fast and fast casual. I would put it more fast food, but the point is that the idea was speed. You want speed, cheap, just a meal. We know it's not the healthiest for us, but whatever. Also, who is it that's consuming fast food more? People who aren't going, you've got wealthier people who are able to go out to the fine dining places. You're going to go out to, a Carson Steakhouse or something on a Friday night. And you can better absorb the $150 cost, $200, whatever it is, to go out. Well, a family of four who is lower middle or middle class is going out to a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A almost out of necessity because it's the only place where you could get an affordable meal and quickly because you've got to get the kids off to whatever activity that it is. See, younger people, younger families typically have less money because they're, less far along in their careers. So what this is doing, the fast food inflation is really hurting the average American family because it's taking a bigger bite, no pun intended, out of their income. The quintessential American fast food place is McDonald's, right? Now, I am a bit older. I am experienced and wise. Okay, maybe strike that last one. I'm old, is what I'm saying. Middle-aged. I remember the value meal at McDonald's. Way back in those halcyon days, under the Orange Man, you could get a McDonald's cheeseburger in 2019 for $1. $1. This wasn't 1993, and sometimes you'll see those old McDonald's menus. There's a meme that was going around a while back where you could get a Big Mac for like 78 cents in 1982. Okay, obviously there's been just natural inflation since then. But in 2019, you could get a cheeseburger on the value meal for $1. Now, that same cheeseburger, and let me tell you, friend, there is not a whole lot of meat. When you go gluten-free, you realize just how much bun is in your average hamburger, and it is a lot of bun. McDonald's cheeseburger went from $1 to $3.15 in less than 5 years. That is a 215% increase. Now, the best description of McDonald's I've ever heard was, you don't go to McDonald's for the best burger you've ever had. You go to the McDonald's for the same burger you've always had. Meaning, you're going to get the same burger. You're going essentially because you know what the cost is going to be. Nobody goes to McDonald's expecting gourmet food. You expect a burger quick, a Happy Meal quick. You go, right? McDonald's does not want to raise the price to $3.15. It's because of increases in wages to get people out to do McDonald's work, which, by the way, is a fantastic first job. If you've got a kid who's looking for producer Dave, his first job was McDonald's when he was a teenager. Now he's working for me, and believe it or not, I actually pay him less. We pay him $3.45 an hour plus tips. Dave says he appreciates the reminder, but that was your first job, and it's at 15 years old, right? It's a great first job. However, in order to combat inflation, people can't go to work at McDonald's for minimum wage or close to minimum wage unless they are a teenager looking for some extra money. Well, what happens when the teenagers go back to high school? You still got to staff the store in the middle of the day, right? So you need to pay people who are older. And this is costing McDonald's a whole lot of money, not to mention the cost of just the raw goods. The producer price index has been skyrocketing. So it's costing McDonald's a whole lot more to get you the hamburger that is now costing you $3.15. A McChicken at McDonald's was $1.29. I can remember this. For a while, the McChicken was actually on the dollar menu. But in 2019, it was $1.29. Today, $3.89. A 201.6% increase in just a couple of years. Fries, $1.79. Now, $4.19 for a medium French fries. $4.19. You want to get a meal, let's say, and yes, I know you can get the value meal where you get the fries or whatever, but let's say you want a cheeseburger and a fries. That would have cost you $2.79 plus tax just a couple of years ago. Now it's costing you more than $5. And this may not seem, whatever, Dan, it's just a couple of dollars. Well, those dollars add up. And the less dollars that you take in, and real wage growth under Biden has been only 0.7% when adjusted for inflation, because inflation, things like the burger, the $1, $2 more for the burger and fries, that's adding up and taking a far bigger bite out of people's paychecks. This is leading them to dip further into their savings or take on second jobs or get the spouse back in the workforce. The Harrison Butker phenomenon of the wife being able to stay home is unfortunately not a reality for a whole lot of people because the price of everything is going up. And the fast food inflation is sort of proof that this isn't corporate greed. This is not, well, we're just going to soak because the whole point, do you think the Dollar Tree, for example, wanted to raise their prices to $1.50? It's in their name. They're not the $1.50 tree. They're the Dollar Tree. They're being forced to because it is unaffordable in Biden's economy to either produce goods or to consume them. Dave, I'm going to keep this going for another segment, and then we'll play Guess What's Racist, because I've got more to say about this. It is incredibly important.
What name do you look like?
Say what?
My whole life, people have called me Michelle.
But your name is Nicole.
I know. I guess I just look like a Michelle.
Well, there's no confusing the Stony Creek bedroom at Penny Mustard because it looks exactly like its name.
True. When I climb into the Stony Creek, I envision a bubbling brook cascading over smooth stone and a sweet symphony of birds singing in the gentle breeze, lulling you off to La La Land.
That's the Stony Creek bedroom, American made with solid wood, forever tight bed brackets, blankets, and drawer bottoms strong enough to stand on.
If you were hiking through a majestic forest and came upon a bedroom set, this would be it.
A bedroom in the forest?
Creeks have beds, don't they?
The Stony Creek bedroom, starting at just $284 a month, with only 1 penny down and no interest till May of 2027 through June 3rd at Penny Mustard.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Hi, neighbors of Racine County. This is Kelly Clark, a small business owner from the Yorkville Union Grove area. I want to talk to you about an urgent issue regarding Assembly Speaker Robin Voss. Speaker Voss is resorting to lies and scare tactics to suppress the First Amendment rights of our friends who are actively working on his recall effort. This is a clear attempt to divert attention from the real problems, one of which is his support of Communist China's purchasing of Wisconsin farmland. This not only jeopardizes our land, but also places our food supply at risk. It's concerning to know that he has even taken trips on the communist dime. The urgency of this issue recently caught the attention of Michael Flynn, the former National Security Advisor, prompting him to issue a national security alert against Speaker Voss and his Chinese Communist Party partners. It's time to sign the recall petition. Look for recall supporters throughout the community with their clipboards, and please feel free to ask questions or engage in a discussion. For more information or to schedule an appointment with a recall team member to come to you, visit racinerecall.org. Together, we have the power to save Wisconsin and protect our precious farmland from Communist China's influence.
Paid for by Racine Recall Committee.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-53-BIBLE. That's 844-53-BIBLE. 844-53-BIBLE.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's conservative thought, not just talk. You want to know how badly Americans are suffering with Bidenflation? Look no further than the fast food menus. The fact that the average price of just basic items at McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Chick-fil-A have increased roughly 80% just in the past couple of years is a staggering, and I mean staggering, indictment of just how unaffordable pretty much everything is. We didn't even get to Taco Bell. A beefy 5-layer burrito, $1.69 during the Trump administration, $3.69 today, 118% increase. The Nachos Bel Grande, and I'm not sure there's anything grande about the Nachos Bel Grande. It comes in a medium-sized little container, and they just glob some cheese and beef on it and call it a day. It was $3.29 during the Trump administration, $5.89 today, a 79% price increase. All told, according to recent analysis by Moody's Analytics, not just fast food, utilities, gas, rent, everything. The average American family is now spending more than $1,000 per month. Average American family making, $60,000 per year, family of 4, husband, wife, 2 kids. I think 60,000 might be a little low. I think the average income is about 70,000 for a family of 4. In any event, $12,000 plus per year. $12,000. In fact, it is approximately $1,019 per month more to buy the exact same things, according to Moody's, than it was during the Trump administration. This is having disastrous effects. And I think this is also why you're seeing everyday Americans. You know, it used to be that the Republican Party, the stereotype was what? The William F. Buckley, the erudite country club Republican. Yes, the George W. Bushes. Yes. We want our lower taxes, and we'd like our cheap immigrant labor, thank you very much, and let's go start a war somewhere in the Middle East. Well, that's all changed. And I think we're seeing that change exacerbated by the fact that people who are making less than $100,000 per year are having such a big bite taken out of it by Biden's disastrous policies. And then they're constantly told, if you are not on board with allowing 9-year-olds to chop off their genitalia in the name of science and the name of self-expression, that you're a bigot? Is there any wonder that people are like, what? What happened to my America? I can't afford McDonald's, and my granddaughter is now my grandson because that's what the kindergarten teacher wanted. Like, is it any real wonder that you're seeing this? And all Trump is saying, all he's saying is a return to normalcy. Do you know what this echoes, by the way? And there is a significant echo here. In 1972, or even 1968, actually probably closer to 68, after the tumultuous Democratic National Convention in Chicago, Richard Nixon, who had always sort of been saying, look, we need law and order. We need law and order. Remember what had happened in 68. There were assassinations of both Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy Sr. And Nixon was running on essentially a return to normalcy because you had the first wave of far left radicalism, the baby boomers coming of age, summer of love, hippies, all of this stuff. And you had rampant crime in America's inner cities, which hit a peak at the DNC in Chicago, which featured riots. Meanwhile, Nixon is saying, look, I am going to return America to a land of law and order. Now, this was before the rapid inflation under both Nixon and especially under Jimmy Carter in the 1970s, but everything else was pretty much the same. You had this cultural inflection point where the radical left was just so far to the left of the average American that Nixon coming in and saying, look, I know you rejected me 8 years ago, just as Trump is now saying, I know you rejected me 4 years ago, but look at what's happened under Johnson. It got so bad that Johnson, like Biden might be, decided not to run again. He said, I can't win in this political climate. Sure enough, Nixon swept to victory, and then in 1972, where he was running against another far-left radical in George McGovern, won the biggest electoral college landslide up to that point, surpassed only by 1984's rampage by the Gipper Ronald Reagan. If you take a look at those parallels where people are seeing not only, and so you have Biden, basically Jimmy Carter and LBJ combined, because he's got the sky-high inflation that's making things unaffordable for Americans. You've got the Iranians basically running amok, kidnapping Americans and burning our embassy in the overthrow of the Shah, and Carter looking powerless to stop it, reminiscent, of course, of the Jimmy Carter ineffectiveness, or excuse me, the Biden ineffectiveness and disastrous pullout of Afghanistan. I mean, the parallels are just striking there. You also have the streets are perceived as just being completely unsafe. And Trump is saying, yes, if necessary, we will deploy the National Guard to keep the peace. Now, of course, the far left is, oh, this is tyrannical. Trump wants to be. When all he's saying is we're going to crack down. We are going to, just like Nixon in 68, present a return to normalcy. What Nixon said is, I am the normal candidate. We are the normal party, it was a winning message. That's all Trump is saying right now. All right, we play Guess What's Racist coming up next, and we need a contestant. We will take caller number, I don't want to make you get 68 calls, Dave. 6 + 8, 14. Caller number 14 plays Guess What's Racist next.
Conservative thought, not just talk.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Dan O'Donnell here for the incredible team at Mander Collision and Glass, now with 6 locations to serve you. And you hear me talk about my great experiences with Mander all the time. Here's David. I had a chip in my windshield of my 2009 Chevy Malibu repaired today. Scheduling was a breeze. Staff was great. I was in and out in under half an hour. That's the Mander difference for you. Quick, professional work with customer service that's second to none. They treat you as a valued member of the family and not just a number like some of the big national chains. It's service that you can only get with a third-generation family business, and that's why I've been using Mander Collision and Glass for so many years, and so many listeners are now discovering and have discovered the Mander difference too. You can check them out at any one of their great locations: Cedarburg, Brookfield, Heartland, Milwaukee, Muskego, or Waukesha, and start your repair today at mandercollision.com.
Hey, seafood lovers, Sendik's Lobster Fest is back. One day only this Saturday, May 25th. Cooked or live lobsters are 2 for just $25. North Atlantic cold water lobsters, a pound each, 2 for $25. Don't miss out. Reserve yours now at Sendik's.com. Plus, enjoy shrimp or lobster boil meals and Sendik's homemade shrimp and lobster roll this weekend. Learn more at Sendik's.com. All during Sendik's 16th Annual Lobster Fest. Sendik's Food Markets, your trusted local grocer.
Robin Voss is a liability to secure elections in Wisconsin. He is protecting Megan Wolf, the administrator of the Wisconsin Elections Commission, who implemented illegal drop boxes, allowed outside money influence in ballot harvesting in the 2020 elections. Regular Joe here, when President Trump was recently on my show, even he was confused why Voss is protecting Wolf.
I've heard so much about Megan Wolf, and it's like unanimous. She shouldn't be there. And Robin Voss is allowing her to be there. I don't understand it. No, she should be gone.
But Voss doesn't care what President Trump thinks. Listen to how he responded when asked about a Trump 2024 ticket.
Will you work to elect Trump in 2024 if he's the Republican nominee?
Well, I'm going to start by doing everything in my power to make sure he's not.
Voss is bad for elections, bad for Wisconsin, and bad for America. If you live in his district in Racine County, sign the new recall petition. The recall will help remove Voss before any more damage can be done to the 2024 election. Visit RacineRecall.org. That's RacineRecall.org.
Paid for by Racine Recall Committee.
Hey, if somebody comes up to you and asks you to sign a document, make sure you read it. It's especially important right now, especially important if you live in Racine County. You know, the same recall radicals from out of state that tried to get rid of the Republican Assembly Speaker just months ago are at it again. So read and don't sign. Send those out-of-state creeps back where they came from.
Read it, don't sign it. Paid for by Wisconsinites for Liberty Fund.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage, so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit LynchTruckCenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Well, that's why you have to check out our website. We're pretty proud of our before and after photos because they show off just how good we really are. I can confidently say that whatever you bring us, we're going to use every bit of magic we have to turn it into a one-of-a-kind work of art. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Malali. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If it's worth restoring, we're going to tell you. If it's not worth the cost of restoring, then we're going to give you an honest answer. You don't stay in the furniture finishing business for nearly 50 years unless you're honest and talented. Luckily, we're both, and that means all of your expectations will be met. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
There's good stuff for your garden at Miners Garden Center.
Like what?
Like 20 acres of plants, every tree under the sun, shrubs, evergreens, perennials, annuals, and ground covers, even blooming tropicals for patios.
Is that it?
Nope, they got knowledgeable people too. Miners is filled with nursery experts and dozens of every kind of planting for your yard and garden.
Really? They got all that?
All that and more. It's gardening from the ground up, a family tradition since '49. Miners, 76th, just north of Good Hope.
When you're due for tire service, visit richlawns.com for the location nearest you.
We'll give you a free flat tire repair on every tire we install. No questions asked. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. You're due for service.
Rich Lawns.
Playoff season is Prize Picks season. I'm Benjamin Yao. Download the Prize Picks app and you could win up to 100 times your money.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, a tour de force of truth, the sort of truth that the rest of the media ignores or buries. We also have some fun. Each and every Wednesday, we play America's favorite game show.
Guess What's Racist?
It is the game where you, our listeners, have to determine what totally benign, decidedly not racist thing is suddenly and inexplicably, horribly, unforgivably bigoted. Today's contestant comes to us from Fredonia. Please welcome Tim to Guess What's Racist. Tim, how are you doing today?
Well, Dan, we're all here because we're not all there.
Okay, I like that. Unfortunately, not being all there is in fact a sign of racism, but it is good that you are contestant for today, Tim, because what we offer is not a prize in the physical sense, but something more valuable, a better understanding of how you, specifically Tim from Fredonia, fits into this complex tapestry we call America's systemic racism. Here's how the game works. I am going to give Tim a list of 3 things. None of those 3 things are going to be racist on their face, but one, according to a member of the media, according to a lib activist, according to someone on the left, it is now racist. Tim's job is to identify which one. Tim, are you ready to play the game?
Let's take a swing at it, my man.
All right. Guess what's racist, Tim? Police, fire, or EMTs?
I am going to say EMTs.
No, sometimes the simplest answer, the obvious answer is the correct one. It is the police. A socialist member of the Chicago City Council believes that the idea of using police to ensure safe streets and punishing criminals is racist. She also calls America a garbage society. Rosana Rodriguez, an older woman on the City Council who supports defunding the police and caucuses with the Democratic Socialists, says America is a garbage society and a white supremacist society and system that favors white people. She also says white people are ahead in the game in comparison to minority groups. She added, race is not a factor that can impact success for white people, she said, while making the case for implementing critical race theory into the education system. She, Tim, seems like a peach. All right, second question for you, Tim. Guess what's racist? Eyeballs, eyebrows, or eyelashes?
Eyelashes.
That is correct. Specifically, Jasmine Crockett's eyelashes and making any comments about them. She is criticizing Republican Rep MTG Marjorie Taylor Greene and calling her a racist, of course, following a tense markup in the House Oversight Committee last Thursday that quickly devolved into shouting, personal attacks, and, well, it got so bad that I am now calling it the Waffle House of Representatives, as the panel met to advance contempt proceedings against Attorney General Merrick Garland over his refusal to turn over audio of President Biden's interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur. Greene sparked outrage when she commented on Crockett's appearance, saying, "I think your fake eyelashes are messing up what you're reading." Crockett, naturally, even though fake eyelashes are worn by people of all races because she is a black person wearing fake eyelashes, and admittedly, I watched that video because it was hysterical. The Waffle House of Representatives is endlessly hilarious. She had some giant fake eyelashes on. She talked to reporters the following day and said, "That's all it is racism." And she decided that she was going to be that person out loud and out front on yesterday. Yes, she really did say on yesterday. The difference is I just wasn't going to take it lying down. You are 1 for 2, Tim. Final question for you. Guess what's racist? Bimbo, ditz, or airhead?
Ditz.
No, I'm sorry, bimbo, but not as an insult, as in the Bimbo Bread Company. Very, very big in Mexico and Central and South America. It is an international brand. Grupo Bimbo is the company, but a federal court in Switzerland is rejecting its trademark registration due to racist connotations. This is a dispute that goes all the way back to 2018. The Mexican bakery group attempted to register its trademark Bimbo QSR, but was rejected by Switzerland's Federal Institute of Intellectual Property. The decision is now backed by the country's federal administrative court. Why? Because in German, the word bimbo is a, quote, highly derogatory and racist term for a person with dark skin. But Grupo Bimbo, the world's largest bakery business, says no, the term is ambiguous. It's also understood as an Italian term for a small child or little boy. And besides, since Grupo Bimbo is so big, the bakery giant said the word element QSR is known to stand for quick service restaurant and makes a racist connotation seem all the more absurd. Well, I'm sorry, Grupo Bimbo, but absurdity is the name of the game in the game that we call Guess What's Racist. Tim from Fredonia, you went 1 for 3. That's okay. Because remember, in America, because of racism, nobody can really win. Except, of course, white people. Yes, sir.
One out of 3, I'm a Hall of Famer.
There you go. Yes, you are. You're batting .333. Unfortunately, that's in baseball, and baseball, too, is racist. Hey, Tim, thank you so much for playing. Really did enjoy having you on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to America's favorite game show, Guess What's Racist? Here for my amazing friends at Built Right Furniture. Built Right's Memorial Day mattress sale is on now. Shop the most unique selection of mattresses with over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best brands made in the USA, including Heirloom, Restonic, Therapeutic, Schiffman, and more. Built Right always saves you money, so don't make a mistake by ordering online or from an employee-free store. With Built Right's legitimate sale prices, you'll get an exceptional value and a great night's sleep as I do on my Built Right mattress, their team will take the time to help fit you. Built Right specializes in flippable two-sided and heavy-duty mattresses that hold up to 600 pounds. Built Right is open Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Friday 10 to 7, Saturday 10 to 6, Sunday they're closed to be with family, and open Memorial Day, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Make sure to tell them Dan sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Hi, neighbors of Racine County. This is Kelly Clark, a small business owner from the Yorkville Union Grove area. I want to talk to you about an urgent issue regarding Assembly Speaker Robin Voss. Speaker Voss is resorting to lies and scare tactics to suppress the First Amendment rights of our friends who are actively working on his recall effort. This is a clear attempt to divert attention from the real problems, one of which is his support of Communist China's purchasing of Wisconsin farmland. This not only jeopardizes our land, but also places our food supply at risk. It's concerning to know that he has even taken trips on the communist dime. The urgency of this issue recently caught the attention of Michael Flynn, the former National Security Advisor, prompting him to issue a national security alert against Speaker Voss and his Chinese Communist Party partners. It's time to sign the recall petition. Look for recall supporters throughout the community with their clipboards, and please feel free to ask questions or engage in a discussion. For more information or to schedule an appointment with a recall team member to come to you, visit racinerecall.org. Together, we have the power to save Wisconsin and protect our precious farmland from Communist China's influence.
Paid for by Racine Recall Committee.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert, owner of Wisconsin's own AccuNet Mortgage. I get that most home shoppers just go with their bank when it comes to getting pre-approved, but that's probably a mistake because banks have a lot of overhead like branches, fancy headquarters, and layers of management. That means their closing costs are typically $1,000 to $3,000 higher than AccuNet's for exactly the same rate. And that's not all. Bank pre-approval letters are usually weak and unconvincing, especially compared to AccuNet's rock-solid, fully verified pre-approval that provides a $2,000 guarantee to you and the seller. Our senior loan consultants will also look at every possible way to strengthen your offer and pre-approval in the eyes of that seller, especially if you're offering over the asking price. We even call the listing agent to reinforce what a great buyer you are. Banks don't do all that. Click on the blue button today at AccuNet.com and let our passionate mortgage pros help you win while you save a bunch of money, too. That's ACCUNET.com.
All right, who's there for heroes or their families left behind when a service member or a first responder dies or is catastrophically injured in the line of duty? Who helps our country's homeless vets? I'll tell you who. It's the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Never forget the sacrifices of our country's greatest heroes. They're hoping all of us will donate $11 a month. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org, the letter T, number 2, letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Since 1946, Ansay & Associates has provided insurance to help secure businesses throughout Wisconsin. Customer satisfaction is our first and foremost priority. As one of Wisconsin's top 10 insurance agencies and among the top 5% of agents nationwide, Ansay & Associates can provide all of your insurance needs, from business, commercial to employee benefits. Ansay & Associates, securing and protecting your American dream.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. Are you still on the fence about owning gold? It's time to pull the trigger with the Oxford Gold Group and buy gold and silver. Nobody can predict the future, but we can't put our head in the sand either. The Oxford Gold Group are the pros. They make owning gold and silver simple and easy to understand. Call Oxford Gold Group right now, and you may qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals. Call 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD.
Need to sell your home fast? Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer can help you with that. Get cash for your home quick, no matter the reason you're selling it or the condition it's currently in. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com and find out about how you can sell your home fast for cash.
Want to make your yard the envy of the neighborhood? Tune in to Brett Ochtenhagen's Seasonal Services Designer Yard Show to learn landscaping secrets. Visit seasonalservices.com and listen on News Talk 1130 WISN, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Classical conservatism, contemporary style. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
A judge has blocked the efforts by a company that might or might not be real from auctioning off Elvis's home of Graceland. down in Memphis. The king's granddaughter, the actress Riley Keough, who is the sole owner of Graceland following the death of her mother, Lisa Marie Presley, was that last year or 2022? I believe early 2023. This company said that Lisa Marie, who was facing some financial trouble, took out a $3.8 million loan and used Graceland as collateral. Keough, through her attorneys, though, and since obviously Lisa Marie died, the ownership of Graceland passed to Keough, and she's saying this entity doesn't actually exist. I did a little sleuthing of my own and could find absolutely nothing about it online, which is usually a pretty big giveaway that it's not actually a thing. Politicians will do this all the time to, who is the guy? Oh, he was challenging Paul Ryan years ago. Paul Nealon. Turns out he had some, shall we say, extreme views that I did not see coming. Well, I proved years ago he was faking having a small business. He did this. He started an LLC and did absolutely nothing with it just to say he was a small business owner. But you can find nothing about it. This company is called Nosani Investments or Nosani Investments. And it foreclosed on Graceland, which is, did you know this? Graceland is the most popular museum, and it has been pretty much since it opened in the early 1980s in the United States, not in terms of visitors, but it's the highest rated by people who go there. I myself have never been. I'm a fan of Elvis. I think he was a cultural landmark in music, and also he was an inflection point. I'm always fascinated by cultural inflection points, like the hippie movement of the 60s, the Manson murders that sort of propelled America into the 1970s, the Ronald Reagan presidency, the Great Depression, things that make us as American citizens. And Elvis Presley really, he fundamentally changed music. He was the inflection point that brought us into the rock and roll era. So this Nosani Investments forecloses on the property and is going to auction it off. A judge just this morning, about an hour ago, extended an injunction that had been previously filed. Keough is engaged in a fierce battle with these people. She says the loan was never made. And I was kind of paging through just very briefly when she first filed this lawsuit, because I'll admit, I did not know that this was going on. And her attorneys do make very compelling arguments that there was never a loan, that this is just a fraud. And the fact that this is happening to one of America's most famous museums is endlessly fascinating to me. You ever been to Graceland, producer Dave? No? What about Dollywood? Have you ever been to Dollywood? No? I want to go to Dollywood. I want to go to Graceland. You know, I've never been to the Grand Canyon either. Never. Never. I want to do some great American road trips in my life. I think I'm just going to, instead of building a house, I think we're going to sell everything and we're just going to be like Irish travelers. We're going to just have an RV and we're going to go from Walmart to Walmart, just seeing America. I'll be doing the show from the back of the RV while my wife driving. She's wearing a trucker cap driving. All right, out of time for today's show. Talk to you 9:06 tomorrow on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Peace out.